So my American viewers and some British who follow what's going on over there will know that a Democrat Supreme Court Justice named Ruth Ginsburg died yesterday at the age of 87. This led to some absolutely insane reactions that we will look at in a moment, but also led to Democratic politicians dropping literal logs in their drawers. They are all doing this because Trump can now appoint a new Supreme Court judge since the Republicans have the presidency and the Senate. The Democrats naturally don't like this and are trying to use the fact that an election is coming as their be-all and end-all excuse to stop him putting a new Supreme Court judge through. Of course, they are ignoring the fact that they tried to do it in 2016 when the Deporter-in-Chief Barack Obama nominated a Supreme Court judge during the election year, and actually would have pushed it through had the Democrats controlled the Senate. As it stood, they didn't, and that nomination never went through. But the claims from screaming Democrats of it being unconstitutional is just desperation gushing out of them from every orifice, much like this reaction we see here to Judge Ginsburg's death.
Holy fucking shit, you guys! I'm driving your car, but I just got a notification that Ruth Bader Ginsburg died! Fuck! Could this year get any fucking worse? Ruth, you just had to make it to 2021!
Now I have got to say, that is some of the most lunatic behaviour I have ever seen. Someone sort her out a room in Bedlam. She really needs it. Now, The Guardian, as you would expect, are promoting this Trump derangement syndrome with this article headlining: Trump vows to nominate a woman for a US Supreme Court vacancy within a week. President says he has obligation to fill the vacancy created by the death of Ruth Ginsburg. Which, maybe he does have an obligation, but even if he doesn't, he should just do it now simply because it's pissing off the Democrats. Look at what they have been doing to American cities over there. He might as well go full nuclear against them and just take the piss at every opportunity. Donald Trump has promised to put forward a female nominee in the coming week to fill the Supreme Court vacancy created by the death of Ruth Ginsburg, pushing the Republican-controlled Senate to consider the pick without delay. Taking the stage at a North Carolina rally to chance to fill the seat, the president said he would nominate his selection despite Democrats' objections, which, as I've already said, never mind despite their objections, he should be doing it because they have objections. That is why I would do it if I was him. I expect the American people would support him just to piss off these rabid lunatics. After conducting what he joked was a very scientific poll of the Fayetteville crowd as to whether supporters wanted a man or woman, he declared the choice would be a very talented, very brave woman. I will be putting forth a nominee next week. It will be a woman, Trump said. I think it should be a woman because I actually like women much more than men. He added that he did not yet know who he would choose. We win an election and those are the consequences, said the president, who then seemed to signal that he'd be willing to accept a vote on his nominee during the lame duck period after the election. We have a lot of time. We have plenty of time. We're talking about 20th of January. He praised Ginsburg as a legal giant. Her landmark rulings, fierce devotion to justice, and her courageous battle against cancer inspire all Americans. Earlier, Trump had said that he had an obligation to act without delay. We have an obligation. We won, and we have an obligation as the winners to pick who we want. That's not the next president. We're here right now. Which is obviously 100% correct, and as the Democrats tried to do it in 2016, he has every right to do it. And people might say, yeah, but the Democrats didn't get it through, and that's only because they didn't control the Senate. If they would have done, it would have been pushed through, and Barack Obama would have got what he wanted. As it stands, it didn't, and that person never made it to the Supreme Court. End of story, it is over. Now, of course, being politics, one Republican senator has already broken ranks, with Maine's Susan Collins, who is in a tough re-election battle, saying on Saturday that she believed replacing Ginsburg should be the decision of the president who is elected on November 3rd. It continues, 3 more defections from the GOP ranks would be needed to stop Trump's nominee from joining the court, so that is something he will definitely have to look for. At stake is a seat held by a justice who spent her final years on the bench as the unquestioned leader of the court's liberal wing. But Democrats countered that Republicans should follow the precedent that GOP legislators set in 2016 by refusing to consider a Supreme Court choice in the run-up to an election. And yes, you might might call that precedent, but at the end of the day, and as I've already said, and so have many others, the Democrats would have pushed that through if they had control. Since they didn't, they never got a chance to. That is the only reason why I think Mitch McConnell done it, because of the attitude of the Democrats and President Obama at the time. He was running around demanding like this should happen. Obviously, Mitch McConnell told him to go and fuck himself, and rightly so. The impending clash over the vacant seat, when to fill it, and with whom, scrambles the stretch run of a presidential race for a nation already reeling from the coronavirus pandemic that has already killed nearly 200,000 people, left millions unemployed, and heightened partisan tensions and anger. Now, you will notice that they have actually missed something out there that's quite important, or should I say, tried to cover it up with something else. Heightened partisan tensions, don't you mean race-baiting political fucking riots spurred on by the Democrats? I love how the Guardian over here are trying to make out like these riots are not happening, when it's clear for anyone to see who sees anything about America. Nice try there, Guardian, you disingenuous fuckpigs. McConnell pledged to Trump in a phone call Friday night to bring the choice to a vote, though he has not said if it would be before the election. Democrat presidential nominee Joe Biden said any selection should come after November 3rd. Voters should pick the president, and the president should pick the justice to consider, Biden said. Yes, Biden, that might be the case, but we all know that if you had your choice, the president would get to choose which kids he could sniff. And the rest of the article there just goes on about who they're nominating for other things. I don't need to go through it. I'll link the article in the description if you really want to read it. So once again, the Guardian are essentially the propaganda arm in the UK of the Democratic Party, suffering from levels of Trump derangement syndrome that the Democrats would be proud of. But I really hope that Trump pushes this through, not necessarily because it's right or anything like that, but because, as I said, I want him to piss the Democrats off. Much like he does every time he releases a campaign ad absolutely shitting on Biden, which they always do. Not that you really need to. Biden cocks everything up himself. Just take a look at any TV interview he does.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors. Slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires. And that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.